Kareem.
How you doing?
I am doing great. Thank you very
Mhm,
much. But before
mhm.
we get started, I know a little bit of history that you started off with John Singleton, and
Yeah.
um, that is so exciting. So just
Yeah.
tell me a little bit about how that happened because I'm always curious about those stories.
Yeah, I started off as an extra. My mom's friend was working on the film, and they were looking for young black boys who can skateboard. And at that time, I was really heavy into skateboard, so that's how I found myself on set. And we're like maybe 2 weeks into shooting, and lunchtime we're just throwing the ball around, and John comes in, and he's playing catch with us and asking all the young men their name, where they're from, and the whole nine. And he comes to me and he's like, hey, where you from? And hey, I got a few lines. You think you'd be cool with that? And I was just like, absolutely. And pretty much that was the start. That was really the spark. And I've been going ever since. I never stopped. And when John was alive, he was definitely a mentor, a big brother to me. So yeah.
It's interesting. There are many children there, right?
Hmm.
Besides you,
Yeah.
but you got singled out. So that tells you a whole lot
Absolutely.
right there. So, I mean, he saw something about you that
Yeah.
grabbed him, and that's why he got singled out. And now here you are doing all these wonderful things, which is great.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I want to talk about today's world and the role you're playing. I mean, going back to the story about this is based on a true story.
Hmm.
And, it's interesting because like the two worlds are so different, right?
Hmm.
You'll have people that live that side of town who never come on this side of town, right?
Yeah.
And I think about that today.
Hmm.
So when you got cast for this and you saw the template of the story, what were your first initial thoughts about how you would shape your character? I mean, based on a true story, of course.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think for me, I connected with I watched the show before I got on it, so I connected with the show instantly. For me, mine was the opposite. So I went to a predominantly white school. I went to Palisades High School, playing football there, and was really good. And but I lived by Dorsey High School, and at that time, Dorsey was a powerhouse football school, and I had a lot of friends that went there, and I was like, I want to go there. And I was just getting sick of being bussed. And so I went to Dorsey. So that's how I connected with this TV show. And it, in fact, it being based on a true story, it was just like, yeah, of course. I'm living it. I know friends who are living it. And, that's what makes this show great. It's about Spencer Paysinger, and who transferred, went to Beverly, and went on to college, and end up going to the NFL and winning the Super Bowl. So we follow the journey of Spencer, from season 1 to season 6, high school, going into college, and what's that like, living in South Central, going to Beverly Hills, seeing a whole nother side, of the city, like you said, that people may not see. But I think the what makes it common is that it doesn't matter if you're in Beverly Hills or Crenshaw, we still deal with the same situations. So that's what made the show really good, is that people were able to watch the show and connect with certain characters that resonated with them. We deal with real life issues that are going on in real time, and you're able to see them every Monday on the CW.
Well, it's interesting. You mentioned the fact that you were already familiar with the story character in terms of the fact of your background.
Yeah.
So going back to your background, what were some of the things that you experienced that sort of filtered and you felt, wow, this show is really getting it right? Shouldn't you share something about that?
Yeah. I mean, for me, I got bused through junior high and high school. I went to Paul Revere, which is in Brentwood, and then Palisades. And, I'm going to school, and, kids are rolling up in Range Rovers and Mercedes Benzes. And I'm just like, whoa, this is different. So yeah, I think, just opportunity, and, just a change of scenery. And like I said, I'm going to a school where kids are walking around, on the grass, having a whole picnic. And then once I transferred to Dorsey, it's totally different, predominantly black and brown. But yeah, I learned so much from both. And like I said, that's what makes the show really good. Like, people can really see that friends of mine who've been bused and went to school, they're like, oh, absolutely, this is a perfect portrayal of what this life is when you go to a school outside of your district. So yeah.
Well, I feel like you're more than just acting, of course. I mean, you are
Yeah.
living it because
Yeah.
you've been through it. So I
Hmm.
think that brings a lot of authenticity to the story, and probably why it's so popular and
Yeah.
people love it so much, because they sense that
Yeah.
already,
For
which
sure.
is a wonderful thing you're doing.
Yeah.
Um, I read that your character has now sort of like transformed itself.
Yeah.
So the growth from where he was to where he is now, what was that
Mhm.
journey like for him?
It was great. I mean, my character came in the last two seasons of the last two episodes of season one, and Preach was a guy who was in the streets, very smart, but just made some bad decisions, and latched on to Coop, and became kind of like a big brother, a mentor. Saw the direction that she was going in life, and kind of interceded and stopped to say, "Hey, listen, I've been there before. You don't want to make these, you don't want to make this decision because this will lead to that." And seeing the potential in her, and him, like I said, being a mentor, and then sometimes his past catching up to him, finding out now he has a daughter. What does that look like? Fighting for custody for his daughter to do the right thing, and then now getting a job and becoming a productive citizen. And Billy Baker, played by Tay Diggs, gave him that second chance that he needed, and now he's a teacher at South Crenshaw, giving back, but also dealing with fatherhood and his 16-year-old daughter who's in his class. So what does that look like? So that's what we're gonna see this season 7. What is that relationship between Preach and Amina, played by Alexis? So yeah, super excited.
When it comes to the fatherhood and that journey and
Hmm.
blending those worlds, I mean, young people, I mean, everybody's watching this show.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you would hope, not from just for the young people watching the show, for the parents watching the show, what would you want them to glean from this?
Yeah, I think sometimes as an adult, I'm not a parent. I'm an uncle. We're not paying close attention to what our kids are doing. So this show definitely sheds a light on that, and just creating an open dialogue, to be able to have dialogue with your kids to where they do feel comfortable in telling you things that are going on and not hiding certain things. And vice versa, kids being comfortable to be able to come to their parents and have those difficult conversations and saying, "Hey, I need help with this," and knowing that you have a foundation and a family who cares for you. So that's the beauty of it. And that's what makes this show good, is that we tackle real life situations that people are dealing with on a day-to-day basis, and we're bringing it in the TV form with showing you the problem but also giving you the solution at the end of the show.
Hmm. When we're doing things in our lives, we learn so many different things, whatever we're doing, whatever job it is.
Mhm.
What are you learning about you in this journey and doing this particular show right now? What are you
Wow.
learning?
I'm learning patience. I'm learning sometimes it's not about you. I'm learning, you can't sweat the small stuff. Um, but overall, it's just been a big lesson of just sitting in gratitude, being grateful for the opportunity, taking advantage of the opportunity that is given to me, and making sure that I do right by it, and using the platform to the best of my ability, not only to inspire, but to, tell a story of, a human being that, people can connect with.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you understand the journey again from the
Yeah.
background you have. At times, do you think about your childhood, and are there moments that you reflect on and you go, wow, man, okay, I see how this happened now where I'm at. Do you ever think about that?
Well, yeah, for sure. I mean, as a young man, anybody can attest to this. Older people are telling you certain things, and you're like, yeah, 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 okay. Until you get older, and then you realize, like, wait a minute, what they were telling me was actually what I was going to experience. So absolutely, absolutely, yeah. and I'm still growing and I'm still learning, and I think if you're not constantly evolving and growing, then you're stagnant. There's no growth, and that's bad. So I'm constantly learning something new every day, and constantly evolving as a person, but also as an artist as well.
It's interesting because when you see young people today, they want everything so fast and they want
Yes.
it right now. And
Yep.
it's got to be, or it's
Yeah.
not happening. Where is it? So I love that you are in a platform where you can actually potentially make a difference to
Yeah, for
some
sure.
young people out there and even to parents.
Yeah.
When it comes to the work you do, tell me a little about your physical discipline. What do you do to keep yourself in the right state of mind, physically, emotionally, and mentally? What are some of your things that you do?
Yeah, I call it paying myself. And paying myself is, meditation, working out, praying. Those are the three things that I do each and every day before I go out into the world. I always believe that you have to pour into your own cup before you go out into the world and pour into their cup. If you don't have anything left, then what are you? So for me, those three things, those are every day, daily, that I make sure that I pay myself first before I go out there and and pour into other people's cup.
Okay. So where's your motivational book? Where is it? I want to read it. What you just said. I want to read it every day to remember that because we know these things,
Yeah.
but you're saying all the right things. Do you have a
Yeah.
book in mind? Are you thinking about doing something like that
You
at
know
some
what?
point?
I haven't, but you putting that out there,
I'm just
definitely
saying,
sparks. I listen. I'll make sure I write in my journal each and every day. So those things of just, what are you grateful for? Just the small things. I try to keep it simple. What
yeah.
am I grateful for? Just being able to wake up in my right mind, and and have and I always tell people, they say, how you doing? I say, listen, I woke up today, so everything is a cherry on top.
That's why you need to have your book. I would read it,
Yeah.
because the things you're saying is just a
Yeah.
reminder for parents and for children today. I mean,
Yes.
that's just how it is. So I'm going to
Absolutely.
keep an eye out for that book when it
All right.
starts to.
All
Okay, I'm
right.
going to be watching. If for people who haven't seen the show where it
Yeah.
is now, if you were 3 words you could describe the show, how
Mm.
would you describe the show?
Oh man. Oh wow. Family. Entertaining. Um, and grounded.
Excellent. I love those.
Yeah.
Now, 3 words to describe your character, his evolution. If you could describe, now he might evolve even more, but at this
Yeah.
point, how would you describe him? 3 words.
Oh man. That's a good question. Uh, he would preach is what I would describe preach. Perseverance. Him, being also second chance, and loyal to a fault.
I like that. Well, thank you so much for sharing
Absolutely.
your time with me. But seriously, the book. Okay.
Yes, indeed. And make sure you guys watch All American on the CW network every Monday. And if you do miss it on Monday, you can download the CW app, which is free, and the episode goes up the next day. So, absolutely.